let's go ahead, we'll call the November 21st, 2024 meeting of the Public Utility Advisory Board to order. As you can see, we're kind of limited today. We've got some members that, due to work commitments and other things, are not here today. So because we do not have a quorum, we will not be voting on anything, but that's still not going to stop us from at least going down through some items on the agenda. And then we'll adjourn the meeting, and we're going to do the board's going to do a tour of the GEHA building, I guess, after this. So for those that want to go see it. So let's all go ahead, and you want to do a roll call, Jennifer?
Sure. Brad Chance, Anthony Jeremia, Greg McGee, Steve McCluskey,
Present.
Michael Talcott,
Here.
Les Boatright.
Here. Thank you. We'll go down to the reports. Anything on finance administration, on any of the stuff that we've got in our packet? Anybody have any questions, comments? Are we going to start having the financial manager come to the meetings? Actually, they used to come to the meetings, and then there was some changeover, so I didn't know what the status of it or the plan for that one.
I would think at some point in time, we yes,
Get back to doing that.
get back to doing that.
Okay. Anything on the finances, folks? Any questions? Anything from an IPL perspective, Mr. Director, that jumps out? Any unusual numbers or anything that we should be aware of?
I'm sorry, as far as the finances are
As
concerned.
far as the finances.
So, the only thing I guess, when we look at these, I want to make sure and caution, right, that right now it's showing, almost $8 million, to the good, which is excellent, but we have to remember that the revenues throughout the year are pretty cyclic, right?
Mhm.
And we start off high with some really hot months, and we kind of carried some hot months a little further into the year than normal. And then they'll dip down. Well, as far as for a budgeting perspective, it's pretty flat. So we always start off real strong, then we'll have a couple months with probably some lower revenues, and then also capital projects usually tend to hit a little bit later in the budget year. So you'll start seeing some of those costs come in as well. So we're right where we want to be, which is in a positive. I just don't want anybody to get the impression that we're just steamrolling here.
In our financial reports that we get in December, I know November is usually the true up or whenever they close out the books for last year.
Yeah, so budget year 23-24, right, closed at the end of June. And right now they are in an audit, and they're finishing up that audit. So hopefully sometime early to mid-December, they should be releasing what's the actual audited final results for that fiscal year, and we can go over.
Yeah, I'd like
the
to go over that
finances
at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, any comments, questions, anything on the finances, folks? Okay, municipal services, is there anything Lisa passed on to share?
No, I thought she may be running late, but
Okay.
I didn't have anything
All right.
specific from municipal services specifically.
Michael?
Should I? Okay. Well, let me ask, and this is Lisa's, but
But you can be Lisa for just a minute.
Probably can't. Here comes the person more suited to
Okay.
fill in for Lisa than
Oh,
me.
It's
sure.
not
Okay.
Lisa, but he can answer the question.
I'll let you get settled first.
All right.
Yeah.
Will not be making it, I guess.
Okay.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks.
Your voice has gotten deeper, Lisa.
A little bit. A little raspy.
So, I got this in the mail from Independence Utilities, and it's got our logo. It's talking about lead, and I almost didn't open it because I thought it was a scam, because on the cover letter it doesn't even have Independence. It's got Dependence on the logo, and so I wondered if water or municipal services was aware of this, if you all sent it out or who sent it out, because we're seeing there's a lot of people that are like upset because they get this thing that says potential health risk at the top and about lead. So that's why if you know about it, if you could walk us through how this processed out.
Yeah. What was it? Probably a couple of years ago, there was the issue with Flint, Michigan, and the lead that happened in their water.
Mhm.
Based on that, the federal EPA made some changes that have now come down to the states and have affected our lead and copper rule. This letter specifically is a requirement for all water systems in Missouri to send out to their customers from Missouri DNR. The city of Independence is unaware of ever having lead in our system. We've had galvanized, but we're unaware of any lead service lines or lead mains or anything like that in our system ever. Now, there have been lead joint mains that are no longer in service. And there's been some goosenecks, right? And the gooseneck is basically how you hook a galvanized main up to, or a galvanized service line up to a main. So those have been present, but we're unaware of any of those as well. So the lead and copper rule basically has been changed, that we have to go out and verify all of the unknown service lines in the city, and then do a re-verification of 10% of the ones that we already know what they are, right? Just to make sure that we don't have lead. That particular letter, though, the verbiage is exactly what Missouri DNR required. And
Okay.
We did not want to send it out. We knew it would cause issues. We knew it would make people wonder what the problem is. But that was a requirement by Missouri DNR, and that's why it got sent out.
Okay.
So there's really not a lead issue. I knew it wasn't in the water, but I didn't know about the service lines. This is just to keep us in compliance with.
This is to keep us in compliance. There is nothing on the city side. There's no lead on the city side.
Mhm.
There are a few thousand unknown service lines, but that's on the customer side. We will go back and verify those and make sure that they don't have lead, but that is on the customer side. So, but we're not aware of any lead issues. We're doing our sampling the way we're supposed to. We're not returning lead in our samples. This is strictly compliance with Missouri DNR.
Right. So this wasn't a third party that put this out. This was actually.
No, this was us,
city.
yes.
Right, okay. I know the only other question that I had then was, it has our address as possibly lead unknown. So were there just certain people that got these letters, or did these go out to every homeowner in the city?
I believe they went out to every homeowner in the city.
Okay. So then my last question that goes along with that was, we just literally had our line replaced. It started to leak. So we had our front yard dug up and they replaced it with copper from the curb to the house. And the city actually came out and, water had to inspect, make sure that everything was okay before they buried it. So does that not get reported at the time, or is there like a database?
We do have a database.
Okay.
And it should have been reported back.
Okay.
I can, I can take your address and double check and make sure.
Okay. Because I know exactly who came out
Right.
and did it. We got pictures and everything. So that was my wondering too. Along with that was, if they've got a database, so you're saying they have to double check it?
Well, so there are a certain number of service lines that we are not aware of we're not confident of what the material is. It may be galvanized, it may be plastic, it may be copper, we don't know. We have to go and verify those.
Okay.
And then Missouri DNR requires us to go back and re-verify on 10% of the system, regardless of whether we are certain we know or not.
Yeah.
They want us to go and re-verify 10% of the system.
Gotcha.
So they don't care what we say. They want a re-verification.
Right. Okay,
Okay.
thanks, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else, Michael?
No.
Okay. Anything else from municipal services besides that issue?
Nope, nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. IPL?
I did want to bring up that, you know, we've had a couple strong windstorms again, right? And some probably pointed outages that have hit areas that have been hit. You know, it's been a pretty dry summer. Trees are dry, cracking, right? Fall on power lines. When that occurs, we try to get service on as quick as we can and route around it while the tree crews trim that. I know that I've received calls and, you know, the mayor's office has received some calls and some complaints from neighborhoods that have probably been hit more than they have in the past years, just due to those windstorms. This year, it's been pretty bad. I don't want anybody to think that we Band-Aid stuff or do temporary fixes. We have a pretty robust system and we do a pretty good job. You know, any future undergrounding that we want to do is substantial cost, and we try to weigh that and try to keep people's rates at a reasonable level. Otherwise, it would cost a lot to underground this city immediately. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind. You know, our linemen are very responsive. We're lucky to have them right here in town, and I think we do a really good job. But just wanted to make everybody be cognizant that it's been a unusually windy year, and we have had a lot of trees go down. We also, you will see in the coming future, you know, we're starting the beginning of our capital improvement plans and looking into the future for what makes sense, and you will see some resiliency type projects and some redundancies built in, especially for some past maybe neighborhoods that have seen some reliability issues and things we can do to make that more robust. So hopefully you guys will see that in the near future too. The only other thing that I did want to report to this board is the decision's been made after some discussions that customer service, starting January 1st, will be reporting up underneath IPL directly to me. So if you think of customer service and all the calls that come in, I would say probably a good portion, maybe 80 to 90% of the city calls their bill the IPL bill anyway. The majority of the phone calls that come into customer service is related to their electrical service. So now that we have the sale of IPL and all that kind of behind us and we're moving forward, the strategic alignment, we thought it made sense to go ahead and put customer service up underneath IPL. So January 1st was also chosen so that we could spend January to July 1st and IPL could be an active part of the budgeting for that department if it's going to roll up underneath us. So starting January 1st, it'll report to IPL.
Usually when you pick up other departments, the money doesn't follow it. So congratulations if you're part of the budgeting. Couple other things I want to bring up on IPL while you're here. AMI status, kind of where's that process at?
Yeah, so I've held a meeting with Water and Municipal Services and some of their deputy directors and their leadership, talking about basically probably in the next couple of weeks getting together an actual project team and doing a kickoff to, again, revamp that RFP to go out to the streets. So just developing the project team right now and getting ready to go over our request for proposal and hit the streets probably in the December, January timeframe.
I know one of the big things, and I've met with Michael, we've talked a lot about it, is the opt-out clause, whether it's a analog system or whatever to opt out.
Yeah, I see
consider.
those decisions to me are down the road. The RFP is what kind of system do we want, what does it look like, and then when you get into the specifics of opt-out, what kind of cost allocation, what is it going to look like, what is the change-out program going to look like itself, are we going to do targeted neighborhoods first? All of that really comes after the RFP, and then you do an RFQ to actually
I just wanted to make sure that it went out or it was something in the forefront, everybody thinking about.
Yep.
On AMI, because that seems to be a big issue with it when it's been brought up before here in
Yep.
Independence. And
Still there.
Michael, I'll let you,
Okay, so the one thing I wanted to make sure, and the reason we were asking now was because when you send your RFPs out, we're hoping that we make sure that we look at companies that actually will be able to do the analog opt-out with that. Because the last time they tried that, the company that they picked to go with wouldn't accommodate analog for their opt-outs. And kind of thinking if Evergy can have analog opt-out within their system, then, you know, it's not going to be a ton of people that are going to be opting out, but we just want to make sure that we have that included in those searches for companies that will accommodate an analog.
okay.
Thanks, appreciate that.
And the other question I had dealt with the governance issue, like with the PUAB. I know you and I have talked before about you providing information to Zach Walker, because I think he's got to come up with a decision or a recommendation for the council. I'm just kind of curious as to the status of that, if you knew.
Been pretty swallowed up with a lot of other initiatives right now, to be honest with you, and that one probably hasn't gotten as much traction right this second.
Okay.
It is still very much active and on the radar, but don't know that that's at the top of the list.
Well, I thought I'd probably wait till after, like, beginning of the new year, trying to maybe get with Zach. A couple of us go talk to him and just kind of feel him out where he's at with the governance and give him our feedback, our input. So we'll see about doing that after the first of the year.
Okay.
All right.
Just one more. Do we have any movement on financial analysts for IPL yet?
The finance manager position is moving its way for approval up through the chain right now to get that posted, and then I'm hoping it's within the next couple of weeks to have the finance manager posted. I would like to fill that position and then
Okay.
allow that person
Gotcha.
to then hire a finance analyst and let
Right.
them be the part of building their own organization.
Right, and that's going to be dedicated to IPL,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, the finance manager will report to me,
Great.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Well, we have IPL. Anything else, folks? Okay. And no assistant city manager, so we won't ask you to fill in for that. Any other comments? We're down to board member comments. Anything? You're being awful quiet today.
I am.
Best behavior or something?
I'll make up for it next meeting.
Santa's watching, I know.
don't instigate.
Oh, you don't want me to keep poking the bear? Okay, our next meeting is December 19th, 2024. There was some talk about that date. I know you'll be out of town, but after talking to Jennifer, we can do a Teams meeting. If it's just one individual gone, we can set up a Teams and have you remote in that way. Is a huge possibility, so that way. I thought about moving the meeting, but I hate to do it from our scheduled date and time because people rely to watch it. And if it's going to impact one, that's one thing. But if, like today, 3 people are gone, we may have to look at that too. So, okay, well,
I wouldn't say out of town, I'd say unavailable.
you're unavailable. Okay, all right. Point taken. So we'll adjourn. We can't really make a motion to adjourn, so just keep that thought. So I'm going to be a dictator today and say, oh, yeah, Mr. Fears came in. Our
I did.
illustrious council member representative.
Sorry, I was a couple minutes late there.
That's okay.
I really don't have anything. I do know that things are moving along relative to, Mr. Walker's working on ideas relative to governance. That's his, that's in his court to bring before the council as the recommendations there. I don't expect anything till sometime after the first of the year on that.
Okay.
That's really all I have.
All right, well, thank you. Any questions of the council? Okay. Well, then we'll stand adjourned at 2:50.